So we've got a nice simple scene today, just 3 colours and a few techniques for you to have a go at. So I'll go straight into the tutorial. Okay, I'm going to show you a nice simple sunset today. This is really good for beginners and I'm using just 3 colours. I'm just going to pop about half a teaspoon of water into each of these colours. The first colour that I'm going to be using is raw sienna. So if I just test these colours on here for you so you can see the mix I've got, so it's quite a sort of milky consistency. It's quite good when you're new to do these limited coloured palettes so you get used to how watercolours work and it's not overly complicated for you. So this one's going to be a sunset. I'm going to show you how to pull the sun out on a wet in wet sky, and it's going to have some teasels at the front. So I've got those 3 colours. I have got raw sienna, burnt sienna and sepia. If you didn't have any of those, you could substitute for something similar, it would still work. Okay, so I'm going to come on, I'm using a Saunders Waterford paper and I'm going to wet the whole paper. So this is with my wash brush. Plenty of water on there. If you struggle to get your paper wet enough, then go over it twice. I'm using a round number 10. I'm going to pick up some of the raw sienna first. So this is what I would call a muted sunset, but it works really nicely. You could substitute the burnt sienna with a little bit more of an orange colour if you wanted to. So I'm coming in, pressing down, circular motion, getting this colour all over the bottom section. Rinsing my brush off, dabbing it off, and then I'm coming into the burnt sienna. Again, circular motion. I don't want to end up with stripes, so by doing this sort of little circular motion on the paper, you're getting a nice variation. Rinse my brush off again, I'm coming into the sepia. It really does show you can create something with whatever colours you've got when you're learning. So this could be substituted with a blue as well. Okay, so what I've got now, it's got a nice flow to it, I'm just letting that settle, is a 2p piece. Any size coin that you want with a bit of kitchen towel wrapped around it. And I'm just doing this. And then I'm going to choose where I want my sun to set, pop it down and give it a little twist. And there you go. Got a sunset. Now sometimes it can be a bit uneven. If that happens and you want to just go over again, make sure you get that kitchen towel tight. You need to get a similar place and then just come and just do another little tweak. You get a lovely round circle, nice and easy. Okay, I'm going to dry that one off. Okay, so that's nicely dry now, and it's got a lovely muted sort of autumn feel about it with a lovely sun in the background. And I'm now going to create a line of C, and then the teasels are going to come in front of that, so it's just to give it a little bit more interest. So I'm going to try and come on about halfway, and this is with my round number 10 and a little bit of water. It's very difficult to paint a straight line, but you just want to get it as straight as you possibly can. You can tweak it Once you start putting the paint on, you can see a little bit more where you're going. So I'm going to come in with some raw sienna. I'm just going to build that up a little bit more. If you can see the tip of your brush, that does help in creating that straight line. It might sound very simple, but it helps with that, and it's just learning brush control. I'm going to take some of that burnt sienna into there, just sweep it through. This time in quite horizontal strokes. I'm going horizontally because it's water and it's a surface. Try and neaten that edge up as best I can. Rinse my brush out, dab it off. Because I'm going into mixed colours, this is why I'm dabbing my brush off in between. I don't want to dilute it with any more water. The water's already in the colours. Sometimes you'll see me dip into neat colour with a water loaded brush. That's another way of doing it. So I've just swept some of that sepia on towards the front. So I'm going to dry that off again. Okay, so that's nicely dry. I'm going to now work on doing 3 teasels. So I'm just going to start by wetting the first one with my round number 10, then I'm dropping down to round number 6. I'm going to pop a little bit of the raw sienna in, a little bit of the burnt sienna, and then a lot of the sepia. So the sun's outside, so I'm going to keep it the dark to this side. You can totally silhouette if you want as well. Now that one's quite wet, so I'm going to carry on doing this process. A little bit onto that one, because I need it to not be quite as wet to go on and pull out the little spiky bits. So that's my round number 6 to put the raw sienna on, and a little bit of the burnt sienna and the sepia down that one side. You get a really nice flow. That's the beauty of doing it this wet. I'm going to pick up now, this is a rigger. So you can have a rigger or a line writer. A line writer slightly shorter, and that just helps you control it a little bit more. I'm going to pull down from that centre all the way down. That's the first action. I've got a little bit of sepia on there, but you could just pull from the colour you've got. Then I'm going to do my little wispy bits at the sides. It's always trickier to do this side. I'm just going to twizzle around. The tripod tends to be in the way, so just get to an angle that works for you. I always find painting downwards is easier, especially to get that point. Okay, so while I'm this way, I'm just going to start the little flicky bits. So I'm going to work my way around. It's still quite wet, so the hazard with this is if it dries too soon you'll get an edge. So when you're first doing it, I want you to just try and do one at a time. You've got to get that right consistency, that it's not too wet and it's not totally dry. You get these lovely little spiky bits, and turning around and upside down just enables you to get a really nice point because you're painting downwards. That downward stroke is much easier to get a point. So I'm just working my way round. Make sure you can still see that in the camera. Lots of lovely little spikes. Make sure you do them in an upwards direction all the way around. So you don't want them to spike out so they look spidery. They've got to curve a little bit. Twizzle back round now. And then with the sepia, I can come in, just create a few little bit more brambly bits. So I'm just going to come across, and this is just giving this a sense of a foreground and a little bit of detail. But it's a very simple scene and excellent for a beginner to have a go at. There's a little bit of brush control, a bit of wet in wet, a bit of wet on dry. So it's a lot of techniques, the basics, and you can have a real good go. And there we go. And here's the finished result. I've taken the tape off. I always like to show you without the tape on. So 3 simple colours, a nice simple scene with a few techniques for you to have a go at. If you've enjoyed this tutorial, I'll pop another one up here for you to have a look at, and a playlist down here. Please like, share, subscribe. Everything helps to build my channel. See you next time.